Hi, everyone. So I can see that Mrs. Cecilia is here. You've already shared pleasantries. I also like to acknowledge the presence of Mr. Ocholi Okutepa. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're excited to have both of you here. I will know that it's going to be a hot conversation today.
Hopefully. Thank you so very much. I really appreciate the fact that we're all here, and I must say a very big thank you to our guests for accepting the invitation. My wife this is like her forte, so she's been all around, and I'm quite happy that at least today's event is actually one that has actually started. I would just want to give a very brief background as to how the Husband and Wife Foundation actually started. Initially, our marriage was not an entirely smooth one at the very start of it. Several issues here and there, and along the line, one of the things that we used to do is we just go out, we create content around our challenges, around my shortcomings most of the time, you know, so we create those kind of information, we put it out there. It sounded like something interesting and something a whole lot of other persons were going through. So after the whole Facebook thing, we're hitting some quality likes and all that. So we just felt it wouldn't be a bad idea to really make this slightly formal. So we registered the Husband and Wife Foundation. And after that, here we are now. Hopefully, by the special grace of God, I'm very sure that today's session would make a whole lot of sense. Thank you so very much for joining us again. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So normally we usually discuss passionately about things, and it's so good that this topic is mutual coming. So I think like some weeks back we had like a very frank talk in our house, and we're just talking about sex and how things have been going on and all that. And I'm excited that we're having this, and I'm sure that as the discussion progresses, we would be able to talk about things and share. So we have two of our guests today. I think I'll just quickly share, not that I have the full profile here, but I think that it would just be good to share and then to just say. So our guest for today is Mr. Ocholi Okutepa. He's a co-pioneer for relationship and marriage outreach, and he's a legal practitioner and author. The first time I saw him was like some years ago online, and then something happened again, and I saw him on there was a platform that they called him for, NHN Couture. Yes. So just saying mutual coming. I was like, hey God, this mutual coming, okay. So it stuck in my head. And then when we started this and we now thought about who to call for this sex topic, I was like, I've heard about someone that wrote a book on mutual coming, and it would be good for us to call him. And then I was thinking about it, I was like, there must be a balance, because a man, according to my husband, he can feel that he knows everything, and he's not even explaining my own side of the story at all. So I said, no, I must check for somebody that understands this sex matter. And I started checking everywhere. When I saw bedroom matters, I said yes. So our second guest for today is Mrs. Cecilia May Agu. She's the CEO of Bedroom Matters. She's a sex and intimacy coach, and she's a marriage counselor. Day before yesterday, I was going through her page, and I was just picking everything one by one, talking to my husband. I said, see, she said that, how many times do you kiss? She said that, how many times do we have sex? And he was just looking at me, and he didn't even know what to answer. So I'm excited about today, and I'm just excited to hear what our guests would have to say about this. And even for those that are not here now, they can always watch the replay on Facebook, on YouTube, and they can reach out to any of our guests. So we know that this thing, beyond just the talk, it will bless a lot of lives, because people have reached out to us after meetings like this, and they've requested to speak to the guests that we brought because they actually have serious issues. So our guests don't have so much time to spend today, so we'll go straight into the discussion. I would like to call on Mr. Ocholi Okutepa to first start the discussion, maybe for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then Mrs. Cecilia will then also have about 10 to 15 minutes to talk about the topic. You're welcome, Mr. Ocholi Okutepa.
All right, thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. I can see what my sister is doing there. I'm glad I'm starting first because let the people who who just deal with the ferry, let them start, so that the people who are deep, like bedroom matters, and when I saw her on this, I'm like, okay, now you're talking. I celebrate you, my sister. Well done, well done. And to our host today, thank you very much. It's a great privilege to share. When it comes to the subject of marriage, it's a very serious matter. In fact, what inspired this book, I had to send for a copy from Amazon because I have it printed in Nigeria. What inspired this book is this worry. And the first thing I would say is, if you're listening and it doesn't appear like you are getting it in your marriage, don't worry. There's no temptation that befalls you that's not common to people. I mean, it's so common. I'm sure my sister Cecilia will tell you better. Like, it's so common. All right. Now, why identifying that it's so common? Quickly also note that the solution is available in most of the cases. I said most of the cases since we are not God. All right. And even medical science has its limits. All right. So I would say all of the cases when we add the God factor, God can deal with anything. So knowledge is going to be key. Then for some people, the issue is that only one of them is interested in the knowledge. That's the problem. Because very often the person who needs the solution is not even listening. He or she feels they know it, and you don't know it. We went to school to learn. All right. So if you are here, be comfortable with ignorance, in the sense that you are ignorant, not that you should remain there. Don't be angry. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Even me here, as in, of course, by the grace of God, you write things, you would explain things, you would try the same thing in your own house to make sure that you are following. Like what Paul says, let me not finish preaching to others and become a castaway. All right. So be comfortable. Don't become, afraid that our own problem is special. Don't worry. There's no special problem in this matter. All right. No special problem. Thank God. If I cannot help, expert is here, she will help. You understand? So just stay relaxed. Stay relaxed. All right. Now, I'll just mention a few points. The first thing I would mention, just to lay foundation, is that we have more sexual issues in marriages because of comparison. Some of the comparison are direct, some are indirect. Now, how do you deal with a problem identified? You begin to starve the source of the problem. There are married people who are too fixed on their ex. By the way, you should not have even done the things you did anyway. But why are you spending so much time fantasizing what is gone? This thing is gone. Ask God for help. Remove it. Your partner is not that person. Even if they are twin, they are different people. They can't give you the same experience. And hope we can control our thoughts. People sound like you can't control your thoughts. You can choose not to think on certain things. You can choose to block thoughts by replacing them with wholesome activity or wholesome thoughts. All right. So you have people to start with who are so invested in something that they can no longer have. They are punishing somebody that you now have. Problem. So it's not because two of you don't even have the skill. You have the skill, but you are judging on a very bad foundation. Your partner is, you're putting your partner in a place they cannot be. No two persons are the same. No two persons can give you the same experience. Then number two, that's from personal experience. Number two is external experience. some of us are too exposed to other people's idea of how sex is working in their home. You know, that's why when I talk about my sister here, she teaches principles. And every good teacher knows that principles are applied differently based on from case to case, all right, depending on the case. But some principles are so universal, they give you wisdom. But you know what some people do? I mean, let's go to the very direct one. Some people are highly, but especially, I say you have Africans, especially Nigerians, see pretense. You see somebody, you think they have never opened anything pornography in their life, whereas they have a secret folder in their phone. You are damaging your home. You are damaging your home. Those people are not your partner. They don't look like your partner. Your partner cannot do. In fact, the worst part is when somebody is heavily invested in pornography and their partner does not even know the competition they are dealing with. So your partner does not even know, and they are dealing with a competition with the unknown. So this partner is frustrated, highly frustrated. All right. So one of the things I advise couples to do is stop building fantasies with the ones that are not in your room. You know, people just excite themselves with stuff. So sexual satisfaction is a long journey. It involves so many conversations, but these are some basic that you must take back first. You must see, if you don't regain your mind, forget sexual satisfaction in a marriage. Just leave it. Your mind must be home. Your mind must be with the person you are with. It's not that you are with Leah, but you think you are with Rachel. Be with Leah if you are with Leah. Be with Rachel if you are with Rachel. It's so important to agree that the first thing you need to do is to regain your own mind. All right? Let me add a third element to it. Sometimes in regaining your mind, you also forgive your partner. You know, sometimes comparison does not begin as comparison. It begins as dissatisfaction with your partner. Then you begin to look for people who know what they're talking about. That's when people enter porn. You see your partner, the reason why God did not intend for people to die in 5 years is because you spend many years learning many things. If you get that, you become more patient. So I know that your husband is not giving it to you the way you want him to give it to you, but he will soon give it to you the more you invest time and conversation. I know your wife is not, your wife is not, and let me quickly say this. When you go back to the one I talked about porn, hope you know it is not until you go and open pornographic site that you are doing porn. Do you know there are movies you just watch, side chick begin to hungry you. The thing just start hungry you. The thing just start looking sweet. Like, okay, sure, everybody here is married. You're just watching movies that look innocent. Movies looking innocent until the lady say, oh my God, I can't wait to give you under the table. A colleague in the office. Then before you know it's going under the table, then your stupid mind is going, and my wife never ever gives me below the bed. What nonsense. Save yourself. The innocent woman is at home cooking a goosey soup for you to come and eat. You are judging her based on a movie. Do you get what I'm saying? So the first important thing you must do is to regain your own mind. And temptations will not stop coming. They will fly everywhere. Temptations will be jumping everywhere. Temptations, every corner. So regain your own mind. Because you are being unfair to your partner when you are putting them in a competition they are not aware of. And it's undoing you because you are losing the capacity to enjoy your own. See, I understand that for some of these, some of us, besides knowledge, which we'll get, of course, like we're getting here, we need to actually ask God for grace. Straight grace, like help me. I'm not doing well with my mind. All right. I'm not going to bed with my partner. I'm going to bed with partners. I'm not talking about the act now. You're with your spouse, but the dissatisfaction is flowing from so many thoughts you should have shut down. Now, let me just close this basic contribution with saying this. When you do this, couples must now learn to come to the vulnerable point where they are able to discuss sex properly without judgment. I mean, see, if you take vulnerability away from the bed, you are losing the bed. I'm telling you. So for couples that are even here together, please make up your mind after a session like this to be mutually vulnerable. You know, until you come to that point. See, do you know, why am I saying do you know? I assume everybody is married from 0 to maybe 100 years in marriage. You know you will keep learning your partner. You will keep discovering buttons that can on the switch. You keep discovering bottles that can set fire. You'll be wondering, like, was this nipple not here 5 years ago? Why is it now that I'm realizing that this nipple, this particular one, this one to the left, why is it now I'm knowing? Vulnerability brings you to that point. Hi! Why you sit down and look at your husband and say, Kai, these 7 years of marriage, why didn't you discover that thing you saw yesterday? My brother, do it again tonight. Tonight is the night. The glory will come down. It will, vulnerability. Not that your wife is saying, but you did not, you not start feeling judged. My brother, you are not Almighty God. You are just a man. When you come attention to what did not work, I learn. That's what you should do. So the marriage bed is actually a school. Go and learn lessons from your spouse. Be vulnerable enough for them to be able to teach you. Take the marriage bed as a very vulnerable place. Learn, as in learn. If you don't go in as a student, you will never graduate. If you don't go in as a student on the bed, you know go work. I hope with these few points of mine at 10 minutes on the dot, I can keep quiet because experts are coming.
Wow, my God, you have shook
the table.
Well, I can speak English. Two of us studying law, but you finish English. Thank you. Thank you. So we are moving to our next speaker. Mrs. Cecilia, please help us. You're welcome, ma.
Hi. It's always a pleasure to listen to Mr. Ocholi talk. And before I start, let me just say good evening to everybody watching. Good evening to Mr. Ocholi and to my host, our host. Thank you so much for having us. Mr. Ocholi is my senior colleague. I don't know why he's always trying to make it look like I'm the... But you've made some very, very vital points. You talked about comparison, which is usually a major challenge. And it's actually one of the reasons why I opened up what I teach to singles as well. Because most of the challenges you have in marriages, can be reduced if we start giving the single people the right kind of information. And I don't want to be tagged as just a Christian sexologist. So I'm a sexologist, right? I'm a Christian, no doubt, tongue speaking, born again. Like there is nobody that can tell me otherwise that Jesus lives, that the Holy Spirit is. You know what I mean? I'm a Christian, but I also know that a lot of our young people have lost their ways because when they look at people who quote and unquote are Christians and men and women of God, there's a lot of things that they cannot connect with, right? So you're telling a single person to keep themselves to marriage, and they're seeing that maybe their father or their mother or somebody that they look up to who is a tongue-speaking, staunch Christian is living double standard. They can't connect those, And so one of the things that I do also is to let single people know exactly the harms. So you see, one of the reasons is comparing. If you've not had all those experiences, what will you compare? For you to compare, you're comparing because you've had experience, right? And even though I wasn't a virgin when I got married, I know the mistakes that I made going there. So when I talk to them, I use my personal experience. If God was to turn back the hand of time today, will I keep myself to marriage? Absolutely, 100%, because I'm having a ball in marriage right now. What we thought was ball is beans, is nothing compared to, I'm telling you, it's nothing compared to, people say marriage is boring, and unfortunately, it's more in Christian homes. When you talk about sex, it's boring in a lot more in Christian homes because everybody's spiritualizing things, we're all being holy, but it's just one person that's being holy. To be honest, like he said, one person is hiding. There's a folder for all this porn thing. Now, I didn't want to go into data and all of these things. When you talk about pornography, it's a big industry. Unfortunately, because there are data everywhere, you can research them for yourself. Over 60% of the people who patronize porn hubs and all these things are Christians. So excuse me, where are they coming from? Which Christians are these? You know what I mean? And the reason is because people don't have this sort of forum. People who are in leadership in the churches, people who have influence, don't have this sort of forum where we can say, you know what, this is wrong, this is right. We want to learn about sex. Let's be open. First off, a lot of Christians can't even call it sex. People have come for me severally. In fact, this is like my third page, Bedroom Matters with double S. This is like my third page. They report to me all the time. And I'm not even vulgar on my page. I don't post naked stuff on my page. You know, people don't see the need, because you're Christian. Why are you saying orgasm, for instance? I said, okay, so what should I call orgasm? They say it's climax. And I know somebody has also tagged me, why are you calling vagina? I said, so what should it be called? It's private parts. In fact, my kids know their body parts. It is a body part. It's the biological name. I'm not even going vulgar to the point where people do all of this stuff. Now, coming to, I'm just trying to, just buttress on a few things. And trust me, 10 minutes is not enough for me. I don't know how people got this idea that 10 minutes should be enough for me. Because by the time I start to dissect all this myth, now you've talked about stop fantasizing about your ex. And there are ways to doing this. Unfortunately, there is no time to start giving you steps. You can actually, change your mindset. You can actually change the way you fantasize about things. You can, by putting in, it's default. You remove a file and you replace it with another file, like you said, right? And there are steps and processes to doing that. You talked about regaining your mind. You see, what I always talk to women is the first thing is our mindset. Your mind is the engine of your body. Without an engine, the car cannot function. Take it to the bank. If your mind is warped, if your mind has been wrongly programmed, especially for women in Africa and in Nigeria, we've been told sex is bad as you were born, take care of yourself, keep yourself for your husband. And then when you finally get married, nobody's teaching you exactly how to announce it. The only thing we hear is be giving him, sex is food for man, just be giving him. And then the woman gives him to a point where even she doesn't even understand what I'm giving because she's not even enjoying it. So there's a resentment that gradually creeps into the marriage home, and then you find a lot of infidelity because even women cheat. Trust me, but see, with what I do, even women cheat. In fact, women cheat better than men. Let me be very honest. Some men don't know their wives are cheating right under their nose. They have no idea because the woman decides to. And so I always say to people that there is a pandemic coming. It's not COVID pandemic, that one is small. There's a pandemic. A lot of women are beginning to be self-aware. They understand that this thing is not fun for me. Why should I keep doing it? And then I'm upset, I'm not fulfilled, and tomorrow I'm not feeling what I have to. I'm not wet down there. There's so many things that just creeps in. And then the man wants it done a certain way. He wants her to be hanging from the ceiling down and all of that. And she doesn't even understand. First of all, even the one on the bed, she doesn't understand. I want to be hanging her somewhere. And then when she's not doing it, you find a small girl outside who has also learned one way or another, whether it is the right way or the wrong way, right? Now, the topic for today, and something that you mentioned, Mr. Ocholi, very key when you talk about vulnerability. Kudos to you. You're somebody that I respect. When you talk about that when somebody says this, you want to learn. Okay, so what should I do? And that's one thing that sets my husband apart. Like anytime I'm like, babe, like this, it's like this, be like, okay, so how we do? I know so now you be the teacher for here now, how we do? But a lot of men are very touchy, a lot of men are very sensitive. And so when you talk about something that has to do with anything at all, then sex, that is the most sensitive, very touchy topic, the man just closes up. It's almost like you're criticizing him. It's almost like you're comparing him with somebody else, even when that's not what you're doing. So one of the things that I want the men on this call, on this Zoom call, to take away is be vulnerable, be open, and then the women also, because a lot of women are not vulnerable. Women are just having sex because it is obligatory that they do it. Unfortunately for women, I always say God created sex for the women to enjoy more than the men, and I'm going to prove it to you all. Now, we're talking about mutual coming. If you keep having sex with your wife and she's not enjoying it, and tomorrow you come back again and she's not expectant, she doesn't even initiate sex, you should know first off that there's something wrong there. But for some reason, a lot of men don't want to have that conversation, right? And so we're just going to go straight into mutual coming. How does a man, a husband and a wife begin to enjoy sex to the point where the woman is the one initiating sex every time. The man, in fact, the women in my team, usually when we're doing Zoom calls, like the husbands are coming out, madam, when are we going to have for the men? Because these women now, they're chasing out this competition is not healthy anymore. So if you notice, we're doing things for men as well. You know, so the first thing is mindset, and then learn to be vulnerable. The mindset now is sex was created by God to be enjoyed, right? For pleasure, for both the man and the woman. It's not for the man alone. See, this thing, when men say sex was created for man, it's a myth. Now let's talk about the sexual organ, right? The main sexual organ for a man and a woman, the man is the penis, the woman is the vagina, right? Or the vulva down there. The most erogenous zone for a woman, the most, doesn't mean for some women it differs a little bit, and then sometimes what works for a woman today may not work tomorrow because hormones are bouncing all over the place. And these are the things, you know, that confuses men most of the time. Today the nipple works, tomorrow is not working. What happened? He's not able to understand it. But that's the way a woman's body was functioned. Again, the woman can understand and learn to control it if she knows. You can control it. As a woman, you can control. And so if the nipple work test then is not working today, you will not just come out, remove his hand or just, no. You see, when it's not working tomorrow, you know, you gently remove and say, I'm not feeling it today. Then you take his hand and put it where you're feeling it. Hello, am I preaching? Yeah, if it's not working, you tell him where it's working. And so you see, being vulnerable. If you're not vulnerable, you won't get to the point where you're able to talk about this. A lot of people have never talked about sex in their marriage. A lot of married people have never. Now, when it comes to the sexual organ, the most erogenous zone for the woman is called the clitoris. Unfortunately, I don't know the kinds of people you have here. Normally, when I teach classes like this, I like to be descriptive. I have the toys that I use for teaching so that they can understand.
We can take it.
Being descriptive means that I need to show you certain things. Are we okay with that? Are we okay with that? Okay, so give me
I think, sorry, please. I think you should also pin her video so that it's a larger display for other people to see.
Awesome, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so first off, the clitoris is a mini penis. Has anybody heard that before? The woman's clitoris is a replica of the man's penis. It's just a smaller version of the man's penis. Let me show you a quick picture. So when I say that God created the woman to enjoy sex more than the man, you all need to understand what I mean. I don't know if you can see this picture on my phone. This is the penis. This is the clitoris. But does this look like what you see on your wife? For the men here, no. Because what you see is just the tiny tip, right? What you see is the clitoral hood. The rest of this part is hidden inside of her vulva wall. And this is what I mean. So this is one of the toys that I use. I have some very daring ones. Don't worry, it's for my daring students. Now, this is, and now the clitoris of a woman differs. There are at least 10 different types. So you don't look at it and say, maybe there's something wrong with your wife's own. Please, no comparison. I need us to understand that, no comparison, okay? The woman's clitoris look different. Now, what usually you see here is this, and it's the clitoral hood, because you don't even see the clitoris. The clitoral hood covers the clitoris because it's extremely sensitive. Okay, now the rest of the clitoris goes down this way. They are hidden behind these walls. Do you understand? They're hidden behind these walls. Now, the clitoris alone contains over 8,000 nerve endings. Over 8,000. Do you know how many the penis has? 4,000. And so when you say that the man enjoys sex more than the man, it's because the woman does not know. The moment she knows, that mindset is unlocked. She knows that sex was meant for me to also enjoy it. You'll be shocked at how you'll be giving your wife multiple orgasms. You won't be able to understand how. But the how is because it's sensitive. Now, the man's penis, right, is meant for different things. It's meant for pleasure, sexual pleasure. That's where he urinates from, so his urethra, and then that's where he passes semen. So you see, it has at least 3 functions. But the woman's clitoris is strictly there for pleasure. Do you understand? Nothing else. God just put it there. Just be enjoying yourself under the right circumstances, which is in the marriage setting, right? Just be enjoying. It's there. So when I say that God is partial to women, it's because we don't know. That's why we don't actually dig deep into it. So that is one. Secondly is the woman's body functions in a completely different way. A man can have his orgasm and have his release averagely under 5 minutes, he's done. 1 minute, 2 minutes, he's done. So that's why I don't understand when people say, my husband is a 40 seconds man. And who is counting? Really? When he's in it, he can come in 1 minute or less. But you see, the average man knows himself. He understands his body. The woman does not understand her body, right? And so when women think that my husband should know now, he's the man, he's more exposed than me, who taught him? To be honest, like that's an unfair statement to a lot of men. Even if the man is a lover boy, is a playboy, he has been playing in town before he married you, chances are he has no clue, because the woman's body takes an average of 20 to 30 minutes to be properly stimulated. So that's where foreplay comes into play. For a woman, foreplay is very critical. Men also require foreplay, no doubt. So when you talk about foreplay for men, it's slightly different from foreplay, with the woman. For a woman, there's so many reasons why they don't have mutual coming. When's the man come or the woman is faking? There's a lot of women that fake, and I hope that we don't have fakers in here. I'm going to deliver all of it today. We need to stop faking, because the repercussion for faking it is you're going to start resenting your husband, even when you don't know it. And you see, there is always a time when that cup is full. Imagine if you don't have a toilet in your house, everybody's eating large and everything, right? You don't have anywhere to go and dump these issues. That's what it is. The day that toilet will explode on you people, you understand? Now, a woman is just having sex to please the man. She's resentful, she's faking it, and she's making it look like everything is good. One day, she's just going to get very pissed. And usually it's not even in the sexual part that it shows. It's maybe it's something else. She asked him to do something, he did not do it, or he didn't do it. You will now burst. Meanwhile, if I trace the reason for that outburst, it's because the bedroom side is not properly taken care of. Does that make sense to us? So one of the things that I want us to leave here with is you both need to learn to explore each other's body. You see, in marriage, sex is very beautiful. And there is no part of your body that is dirty, that is not healthy enough for you to, explore. Now, like he said, I teach principles. There's no one way to enjoying sexual pleasure when it comes to a man and a woman, right? There's no one way. What works for Mr. and Mrs. A may not work for Mr. and Mrs. B. And that brings me to say oral sex, for instance. Not everybody enjoy oral sex. Not everybody is convinced that it is scripturally right. And my job is not to convince you that it's scripturally. When I do the one that I know, go and pray and ask God. I pray about sex. To be honest, sometimes I'm not in the mood. Sometimes I'm not. I'm thinking about so many other things, but I know at the end of the day, this thing is going to help me. It's not just my husband. I don't see sex as I'm doing something for my husband. It's both of us, where both of us are enjoying it. And so I put myself in the mood. I pray about it. And sometimes I know what to do. I don't have to pray. I just do this, do that. Send the guy some erotic message. I'm like, dude, I want you to do X, Y, Z, which a lot of people don't know how to. Some of you don't know how to tell your husband, squeeze my breasts. Finger me, squeeze my bum. Some women don't know how to, initiate, tell the man. And let me tell you what initiating sex as a woman does to the man. It boosts your husband's confidence. It makes him feel desired. It's only women that want to feel desired. The man feels like, oh my God, my wife desires me. It's what these little girls do outside. Let me tell you, I missed you. This one that you did that day, you did that. You see, when you, let me give you a clear example. Imagine as you're sitting down here, you close your eyes and you're trying to picture the best sexual experience you've ever had with your spouse, right? And then imagine you typing it to him or to her and say, remember the other time when you did XYZ, you sucked my nipple this way, or you gave me a hand job this way. As you're typing it, first of all, you're sending messages to your brain. There's a transmission of information. And you notice that as you're sitting down and typing or standing and typing, even your organ is already responding to what you're typing. Do you understand? And so talking, communication is very important to mutual coming. Now let's go back. I know I didn't buttress the point on foreplay. Now for women, foreplay is very different, like I said. If the woman has any stress, anything that's giving her stress, it'll be very difficult for you to get her to be sexually available. And so it means that both of you have, if there's any underlying issue, sort it out. If you don't sort it out and she's doing, she's probably faking it. So I'm giving the men a clue. Yes, I'm giving people expo to what we do. This is what I used to do until I discovered that, hey, guy, so all these years I've been deceiving myself. It's me that has been receiving the, no, from now on, is if I don't come, please, brother, don't come alone. We have to come together. So you see, the mutual coming is very important. And in sexologists, it's called polarity sex. Polarity means both of you. It's about taking care of each other. Now, because the man has the tendency to orgasm first, to have his release first before the woman, it is advised that the man learns to, give his wife, foreplay, kiss her nipple, fondle her breast, squeeze her. But the problem is most times the men go straight to the most sensitive organ, which is the nipple and the clitoris. Avoid those places. Avoid it when you start, okay? Go round the breasts. Sorry. I don't know how to teach like this. See, this is new order. New, I've not even used it. I bought it for my students. Because there are certain things that is only description that can help. I hope you don't have singles here, so they will not go and start masturbating. Please don't. You see here, avoid the nipple. You can go round the nipple for a man when you're trying to tease your wife. You see the back of the neck here, lots of nerve endings, and then when you're touching, light touches. The ears as well, yes, the ears is the navel. Now, the most important part, when you're coming around this area, she's already feeling somehow. See, ignore here. You see this inner thigh, the inner thighs, right? There's a class I'm putting together and it's for men. When you know how to just open her up and she's expecting you to go there and not going there, you're teasing her. Trust me, by the time you decide to go down there, she's wet all over because she's waiting, she's anticipating. It's foreplay. It's something that we all need to learn to do. It's the same thing when I teach men how to give a man a blowjob, for those of you who don't have a problem with that, there are parts of the man's penis that you need to know where the nerve endings are. The man's nerve endings, when you're giving him a blowjob, focus here. You can see a lot of veins ending here. Lots of veins here. You focus, even if you don't do oral sex, use your hands, but make sure that you're lubricated so that you don't hurt each other. You see, your sexual organs are very, very sensitive, extremely sensitive. If you cannot use your saliva, please make sure you have lubricants. Make sure you have lubricants, okay? Now, for a woman, sometimes saliva is not healthy. When you want to use saliva for her vagina, sometimes it's not healthy. Why? Because if the wrong bacteria, now bacteria in the mouth doesn't make it wrong, but if there's any infection and you don't even notice, because sometimes infections linger in the mouth longer before you start feeling the pain. If that bacteria finds itself to the vagina, it can cause a lot of havoc for the woman. It's why normally I would suggest use lubricant to be safe. But if you're the type that sees your dentist every time, so you're able to catch whatever it is, then saliva is very healthy, all right? So what I'm trying to say in essence is For us to have mutual coming, for there to be polarity, both of you enjoy it. The man, when you start off, you have all of your sensation all over your body. You're sensitive, you're receptive, any small thing you can come. You need to now learn how to control it, hold it, and concentrate on the woman. When you concentrate on your wife to the point where you know she's almost there, then you can now go in and both of you can either come together, or she comes first, then you come together and both of you can sleep peacefully like a baby. You know, when a man comes, most times he just sleeps. The woman has not come and she's wondering, is that it? Uncle, what's going on here? Or she already knows, she's anticipating it, she knows. Once he comes, he has slept. So to my ladies, to my queens, let me tell you, it's not their fault. It's not the man's fault that the moment he ejaculates, his penis goes down, everything. You know why? His testosterone level goes down. It was here. And then all of a sudden it just goes, wee. It's hard to get it up again. It will take a few minutes for it to come up again. So the problem is, a lot of people have learned to have sex the wrong way. Pornography, you see, that thing is major bull crap. You see a guy who's going in and out, boom, boom. Is it by going in and out? Is it by having 10 inches long penis? No. Because you see, for a woman, most women do not orgasm by penetrative sex alone. This is why her major orgasm is here and runs deep inside all of this place. So when you're digging in and out, first off, if she's not properly lubricated, you're going to be bruising her. And she will not say anything. You know, women can take pain. She'll just be there, and she's not, you look at her, baby, you're like, yes, yes, more. She just wants you to finish and just get the hell up. And that's the truth. They won't tell you these things, but when they come for coaching classes, most times, I don't even need you to tell me much. I know exactly, just few sentences, I know what the problem is. And so the only way that the husband and the wife can mutually, enjoy sexual pleasure in marriage is communication, being vulnerable, having the right mindset, open up your mind to have conversations around sex. And because it's a difficult topic and I can't do the job alone. There are just very few sex therapists in Nigeria. I decided to create the couples conversation game card that has a lot of questions around romance and erotic, where you talk about sex, So when you have date night, you plan date nights, don't talk about work. That's the mistake a lot of people make. When you plan date night, it's not time for work or talk about children or talk about what is not work. You see, date night is you and I. We're having fun. It could be maybe we're going to the movie to see, to the cinema to see a movie, or we're going to dinner, or we're going dancing, or we just want to stay in and watch a movie on Netflix, or what have you. But whatever it is, that's the time to focus on each other. Sometimes reminisce on the past, how you guys met. There's some inside jokes. There's some couples when you see them, when they are doing something, they laugh. Now only them understand that they laugh. When I don't understand, it's inside joke. They call it an inside joke, right? When you focus on building intimacy, you focus on doing date nights, please don't bring family or business into it. Now, it's in that kind of atmosphere that you can decide to say, let us bring the couples conversation game cards and play. And you cannot play all the questions. 5 questions per sitting is enough, because it's not a yes or no answer. It's a question where you now have conversations around it. Do you understand? When people are able, I know a lot of people that have gotten these cards and they don't have to come to me for coaching. I don't have the time. I can't do more than 2 clients a day. Now I've gotten so busy. Like, I have a life. I've gone to a point where I have to focus on my family, because I cannot be helping other families and mine is hey, you understand? Before somebody will say, hey, all these fake motivational speakers on Instagram, hey, no, you see, my own, I need to use my own play at all. So one of the things I want us to take out of here, communication, be vulnerable, be open to have conversations around sex, be patient with each other, because sometimes, let me tell you, sometimes, no matter how you pray, you might not even want to have sex, but you know that my husband needs it now. and you're giving it not because you're resentful or anything. You know, this is part of what you're supposed to do, and vice versa for the man as well, because the man can control his mind and say, you know what, my wife is initiating, let me go and take care of that woman. Let me tell you, sometimes I have a headache. I can't remember the last time I took Panadol. I have a headache. I just send a message to my husband. Babe, I have a headache. Because once I have oxytocin released in my body, dopamine, the headache disappears. So he knows when I have headache, he has to go and take care of his wife in the bedroom. You lock the door, you give me orgasm, I feel fine. I feel okay. Everybody goes, about their normal life, feeling like Superman and Superwoman. But nobody has to know. Nobody has to know, right? So let me just leave it here before, I know I don't know how many minutes I've done, but
wow. Amazing, God, like the doctor is full. So me, I'm just thinking about everything, but I think that it would be good for Mr. Ocholi to respond, since he just spoke for 10 minutes. I want him to respond to some of the things from the male perspective, because for the woman's own, I give it to you, like everything on my mind, you have said it.
In fact, I need to watch. I'll have to watch this video again.
So it would be good for me to hear Mr. Ocholi for him to help me speak my husband's mind.
I am glad that you came back to me. I knew she was not going to keep that 10 minutes, because this woman, she is loaded. Because she brings out all her stuff. All right, so I'm going to say a few things. First of all, I agree with what you're saying. I mean, in total, like very, very well. While you were speaking, I was flipping through a few pages and I'm like, okay, I won't say I'm a sex expert. I just, because of what we do, got very interested and had to start talking about it, get a bit into it. Like you said, especially for those of us of the Christian conviction, we are joking with fire. I mean, from pulpit to pew, we are joking with marriages that the bed is not working. All right. In fact, that's what I had to, So I was looking at a few things. In fact, I went straight to that 8,000 ending. I'm like, okay, thank you.
I saw when you clapped. I saw when you.
I wanted. If I felt so good because I had to do research at that time. You are really in it, so it felt so good to see some of those numbers the same and all of that. So let me just say a few things. Meanwhile, any man here that is wise will go and request the recording of this conversation. Absolutely. And just go over it. Now, to the end of the.
You can remove me from spotlight. You can remove me from spotlight so that we can also see.
We like your face. We like your face like that. All right. So let me quickly say this here. You made a point that is so important and men note it. There are too many wives they don't spotlight me. There are too many wives not making the approach at all. Some wives have used 2 or 3 years to erode the confidence of their husband in the bed. And let me say this to you, while it is not your fault, somebody else is attacking him with confidence outside. Somebody else is flirting at him. So he looks at the last 2 years, he literally begs you for sex. But people are begging him for flirting outside. That means that person is inspiring his confidence and you are damaging it. So he naturally would want to respond to the person who makes him feel like a man. You get what I'm saying? So this is not inviting you like my sister said, this is not inviting you to, please don't fake orgasm. Like she explained, it will damage you because you will lose sight of what the real thing is. Honest conversation is what to do, not to fake it. But you want to be careful. In fact, every lady in the house, no matter your husband's level of performance, ask yourself, when was the last time you commended him sexually? Number one, commendation. When was the last time you commended him? Thanked him for anything sexual. Number two, when was the last time you approached your husband, made the first move? I'm not talking headache. That headache one is too common now. In fact, my wife sometimes just look at me and say, that headache, I bind it. Prayer can work for headache too. It's not only penis. It's not only penis that works for headache. Not that I don't want. I want, at that moment, the man may see, the man wants to feel desire. See, you think we are macho? We are just clothing weakness with macho. We are just pretending. Macho what? Let me tell you, if not the grace of God, do you see a man able to resist a woman? Be honest. If not grace, Can a man withstand a woman? Even your wife that you think you are looking down, there's a move your wife will make you collapse. You just collapse. So the women need to know that you are that powerful and that he needs that level of validation. So I started with commendation. Number 2, I said initiate it, initiate sex. It does something to a man. Number 3, a man thinks an average man, like we said, I agreed at the beginning, wisdom is generally applicable, but in some cases, lead to exception. But an average man is extremely adventurous and want to see adventure. So thank you for your pious nature, being afraid that he will suspect that you are a loose woman. You are not a loose woman. You are my loose woman as my wife. You are my personalized loose woman. Loose for me. Finish me on the bed. Do something. You know, some ladies, Jesus Christ, did they ordain you a missionary? Every time you don't lie down. They're just like, move. Send him a message. I tell you, try this tomorrow and see. Let's leave today out. Just send him a message tomorrow morning. Say, when you come back today, I will ride you like a bike. Hey, the man will stand up where he is. Everything he will start. I'm telling you, wherever it's, even if it's on the pulpit, erection will start. You have to cover erection. Something will move in him. A man, flirt with your husband. You are the authorized flirter. Flirt him into submission. See, why do you have WhatsApp? WhatsApp him. I don't know if my sister will agree with this one. Like she said, some things are not generally applicable. My sister, your husband is the person who has right to your nude, whether in body or by picture, especially when it's not away. It's when people are away that I tell them, calm down, don't go and inspire something that you cannot fulfill. But he's coming back home today. Hey, you don't even have to put the one that somebody mistakenly sees too much of a problem. But when I lie, I say, baby, can you guess where I am right now? I'm in bed. The scented candles are on. Snap only your leg from knee down. He gets the message. Erection will catch him in a board meeting. He will wrap up board meeting. Your husband I tell he's not coming home. Don't worry. Show him pepper. Tell him as I'm lying down here, I'm dripping. Am I here drip? Drip. He will run. He will run home. Make the move. My sister, I didn't even know they were closing your pages. God will help them. You are saving souls.
2 pages. This one started 1 year ago. They would sometimes I feel like people send them, they will just come in and be reporting or sending me messages. On a Sunday, when I post things, they'll be like, it's Sunday, can't you teach people how to pray? I'm like, I'm not your pastor now. That's the job of your pastor. All different.
It's a shame. Churches should organize their couples forum and bring you. Simple. You see, because these things we're saying, let me tell you something. God does not equate a bad bed as righteousness. Yep. Righteousness is in handling your anger. Righteousness is in not quarreling with your neighbor. Righteousness is in having right standing with God. See, like she was explaining, in fact, let me just take it off from that explanation about the clitoris and all of that. Do you think God, who put all those nerve endings, something's wrong with him? He didn't. In fact, like you explained of the clitoris, that thing has no other function.
That's it.
Do you know? So, as in, I'll give you some examples now. Since I'm talking from this other way, let me not go that other way. Let me help the women to help us, the men. My dear sister, some people here need to somehow smuggle Cecilia's teaching to their husband. How you do it, I don't know. Because sometimes I tell people, you don't have to be forward. You don't have to say you don't know it. Please learn to help your husband without saying he doesn't know. Just learn to, I stumbled on this teaching this afternoon. Okay, the lady was so raw. Please, here, let's see. What's your judgment about it? You just dummied him inside. Is that the lady was so raw, the way she was going, don't you understand? It's like she's too direct, but I don't know if it's just my feeling. Oh, please, can you hear this? Forward it. Collect this video, convert it to audio MP3. Reduce it to just 7 MB. Say, babe, I'm listening to something I don't understand. It's like you need to listen to it. Let me tell you, when he's listening to it, idea will begin to flow. Idea. See, if you have, for instance, the right materials, buy it. Don't force anybody to read it. You'll be reading it on the bed. There is no man who will see solution and not carry it. You know what to do, leave it on the bed, go out.
To add to what you're saying, one of the things that the women also, what I've taught them, which is something I was doing before I taught them, is when you're listening to something like this, increase the volume, increase it. If he's around, increase it so that he's hearing it as we are hearing it together. When I'm live, some of them turn to be like, my husband is watching or my husband is also listening. When the guy say, but can you reduce it to, oh, is it stopping you? Oh, I'm sorry. You reduce it, then gradually, small, something is filtering. Because if you're not feeding him the right information, the wrong one is all over. Even when he's not looking for it, it's looking for him. You know, so yeah, continue.
Exactly. And you know why this is key? Men are extremely egoistic and ego too much. So you must sneak knowledge to them. It's not every husband that will sit like our host, sitting the wife and taking this session. No, ego too much. Ego. Let's clap for him.
Yes, so celebrate him, sir. We celebrate you.
You know,
and to the men here, that are watching.
We celebrate you, sir.
Celebrate all the men
every man here. Every man
all
here.
The men here.
Every man. Sincerely. Do you know one of the ways I dealt with that ego? I put it like a rule in my house. Anytime, since we teach relationships all the time, anytime there's couples forum in our church, I can cancel event to attend. I once traveled from Abuja to Lagos to attend a seminar. As in, you know, you must, now for the men listening, you must crush ego. If not, it will crush you. Forget it. Your wife will be dissatisfied, you will not know. So, but for the women, since I'm speaking more to the women to help us, is find ways to, smuggle knowledge into him. There's a lot of ego. Over time, you may now realize that the guy is choosing to learn. All right. But for a lot of men, it takes time. Like my sister said, increase volume, just do things. There are materials you buy. You didn't say you bought for him to read. You read it. It's so amazing. Some people buy a book like this and cover it with newspaper. No, keep it in your closet. When you lock door, start reading it. I know you have children. Then keep it on the bed for him. He will ask questions. You are reading this. Now, it does something to his psyche, even if you do not suggest for him to read. His psyche is saying, my wife is interested in this subject. She's satisfied. Is she okay? Is all well? In fact, boldly tell him, I went to see a sex therapist. Sex therapist. Yes, because I want to please you. You have not accused him. You have not told him that he's not doing well. You are just showing that you are making effort in that area. Automatically, corresponding challenge will happen. The guy will just realize something is wrong. When somebody is telling you nothing, but it's everything. So make moves that make him know that this area in our marriage needs attention. I will stop here. I'm not like my sister. She's I will not say more. She has, let me bring my tools. So touch here.
To just add to what you said, when you talk about nude, because again, I'm always careful because of the environment I see. If I'm in my zone, there are things. So with nude, my only challenge with nude is you don't know, there's always digital footprints out there. But you also kind of balance it out when you said you can snap from your leg. I always tell women, snap from here down, your neck down, right? You want to, one of the ways to also initiate, especially for like shy women, you have lingerie. If you don't have lingerie, auntie, what happened? And he likes to call it lingeri. That's how
I call it lingari.
Lingari. You can take pictures of your different lingerie and ask him, which one do you want me to wear for you tonight? You've initiated something. You're not wearing it, or it's on the bed. You just bring 2 or 3. Which one do you want me to wear for you tonight? His message, the guy is really like, the guys that are planning, let's go and watch UEFA in one place, like, I have an emergency. Yeah, something. My mother called me. This is his mother. His mother called him. Yeah, and for those of you who are bold, you can wear it. Put on the lingerie, take a picture halfway down. And if you want to take your face, right, you can take and then make sure that both of you delete and go to your cloud and also delete, because nobody knows what's
Sorry, not to cut you. Sorry, not to cut you. Have you seen this recent, the latest update on WhatsApp?
No, which one?
Okay, the latest update on WhatsApp is even the way the picture deletes automatically upon opening. In fact, the person can only open. it instant, and I was shocked. Nicely, I was sending a picture between our phones from my personal phone to the ministry phone to do something. And there's one, it's like a clock beside the send button. If your WhatsApp is up to date, that clock simply says this picture can only be opened once. As the person goes back, it's deleted. I mean, just check your updated WhatsApp, you'll be shocked. I mean, so nice.
I'm going to do that.
So
I'm going to do that because these are the things that technology, you know, we use technology for business, technology for everything, but we don't use it for ourselves. Like anytime I'm out of town, best believe that my husband is not starving. Like I always teach my women, sometimes we do some funny videos. I don't know if you see some of my videos, I'm just smiling and I'm just doing things. I'm telling my women, have you seen? And some of them, when they do their own, they post in the group. You learn to do, you know, sing love songs, and you just, somebody says it's called disappearing message. Thank you, I'll check it out. You know, your eyes, your lips is how you do everything, and then you send it to him. You've not even said it. You don't have to know the lyrics to the song. You know, I'll make love to you like you, and you send it to him. Sister, you have everywhere bursts. Everywhere bursts for the man, everywhere bursts, unless there is an underlying issue. If there's any underlying issue, please make sure to sort it out, because I know that everybody here is at different phases of their lives and different phases of their marriage, right? Now, you talked about, and lingerie, for me, lingerie is not for the man alone. You can go lingerie shopping with your husband from the comfort of your home. Do it online. You know, hard again. These things, you can get everything online. You sit down with your husband, you are doing lingerie shopping, and then they deliver it to you, right? Now, another thing is, when I teach women, I say, wear your lingerie for yourself. My women wear lingerie, and they make up, and they wear heels. They lock the door, and they walk around the room. Let me tell you, when you do that, you feel empowered, you feel sexy, you feel hot, because usually the problem with women is our bodies. When a woman has, you know, given birth, you know, we look at ourselves, this is not how we used to look when we were 18, 20, 25. Oh, now the breast is sagging, you have some baby pouch, maybe some stretch marks or what have you. Unfortunately for the women, a lot of men don't care about these things. It is we that worry ourselves about it. So I tell the women, buy lingerie, they wear it, they take pictures of themselves, they look good, they tell themselves, I am hot, I am drop dead gorgeous, I'm a sexy wife of Aman Naagu, aka MC Aman. Like, you see me hailing myself, I'm teaching them, and they learn to do that. When they do that, they are putting themselves in the mood. So with lingerie, it's not just for your husband. You wear it for you, and by extension, naturally, as you're feeling hot, what do you think you do? You snap and send to the guy, dude, see your wife, I need to compare another bride price. You know what I mean? So we need to get to that point where it's easy. Now, when it comes to sending messages, sending dirty messages or sending erotic messages or what have you, or even telling your husband, man, last night was the bomb, I can't even wake up this morning. You know, he feels appreciated. You were amazing. Ah, dude, where was that fire? Like, where did that fire come from? Some of you don't have that kind of conversations. If I say, let me see your chat between you and your husband or between you and your wife, is baby food, or what are you bringing from the house, or hey, my mother, or quarrel. You don't chat about things like, dude, I just see one thing, I'm like, and just wait. I'm like, I wish my husband was here. Some of you don't have this sort of conversations. It's why small thing outside the husband has his hard on is crazy, because he doesn't get it at home. So women need to learn that, and then the men also need to learn to also tell. We women too, we like to hear, babe, you're hot. See the way your muscles was tightening was holding onto my penis. Yes, men, we women, we like to hear it, like, you are sweet, you're the best I've ever had. I can't leave you for anybody. No woman can try it. You're the this, you're the that. You don't say. And so I just launched a book last month, 270 flirty messages. So it's word for word. If you want to copy and paste, copy and paste. But I always teach them, copy, add your own flavor so that you know it's your thing, you know. And so if you don't know what to say, just copy and paste. And so when they paste, the husband replies the message, they share in the group like, Queen Mother, I'm in trouble today. I say, go and get ready, because tonight is going to be amazing. You know, so lingerie, nude messages, learn how to send messages, nude pictures, dripping, like he said. Once the man hears dripping, like, what is dripping? Where are you dripping to? From where to where? Please don't drip too long. I'm coming home. And the funny thing is, when you give a man an incentive, you see that thing I said, he does not have help around the house. When he comes, he just sits in front of, it's him that will go and tell your children, come, let's go and he will bathe them and send them to bed, because there is an incentive. If he helps, he knows it is faster to ministration. Am I speaking? Yes, I know I'm speaking. So when you hear dripping is a game changer, and wet is a game changer for man and for women. So women need to learn to also talk about this. But I think that the men also need to help us a lot, because to be honest, there are some men who cannot even think about how can my wife be talking about things like this. It's ungodly, it's unholy, which is why, like you said, churches should now learn to organize things for couples. From next year, I'm going to be organizing retreats. So the retreat is not home. If you're coming to the retreat, just like you're coming for at least 4 or 5 days, and that place, as you're coming, everything is, and it's island. So you're not coming to work. You're not coming to carry plenty clothes. It's island. I'm telling you, because a lot of marriages, I came back, I did Egypt in May, and I just met some random couples, and one of them is inviting me to their church. He's a living faith pastor. And, it was amazing, the things that you're able to do when you're open, your mind is open. So the men also need to help the women, because a lot of women are learning, but then when they take it back home to the man is looking at them weird, like, where did you get that from? So please, our husbands here, our kings here, learn to also be open. And that's why I said, let's celebrate the men that are on this call, because it's not every time you find men that are open to learning things like this. So yeah, that said, if there's any questions, we can answer now.
Amazing.
Thank you so much. In fact, today's whole session is like a sermon to me. I think there are a lot of things I need to really work on personally. And I just hope that my wife will be patient enough.
I mean, you'll be patient. Two of us will be patient with each other. Okay, so we want to go straight to Q&A. What we'll do, because of time, let us take all the questions together, and then we'll go straight to answers. So please, if you have a question, you can lift your hand up, or you can just unmute yourself and ask your question. Do we have any questions? So I'm looking through the participants to know if someone has a question. My God, it's like it was too much. It's one that people are quiet. But I have a question actually. So it has, but you've touched it in a way. Okay, someone has asked a question.
What do you do when couples live apart?
Let me read it out. Thank you.
It says, what do you do when couples live apart in different countries? I think that's the much I could find.
Okay, coincidentally, let me just start. I'm sure my sister would do justice to that. Coincidentally, I posted something about this today, about distance. I do not believe in God's order that marriage was supposed to be done as a thing by correspondence. Wow. So the first thing is the couple should not accept it as a fixed reality. So whatever solution is coming out is so temporal, like so temporal. It's just a situation to be managed, all right? So we can pretend about it all we care, except people are close to being celibate or celibate. And I don't know how celibate people marry. They are cutting with fire. I mean, they are playing with fire. I don't have any denomination I'm speaking about, but I have been challenging the body of Christ that any policy that split husband and wife, no matter how anointed they are, you're joking. Sisters in church will service the man of God. And like my sister said, more women are doing nonsense than we admit. Woman of God will also be serviced well. We can pretend about it. So distance is not supposed to be allowed. Somebody needs to make sacrifice, whether one or both. Sacrifice has to be made. People have to be honest about the fact that we cannot continue like this. So residential separation was not part of God's plan. Marriage by correspondence was not part of God's plan. If it happens, it should be a temporary thing. I'll just leave it there. I'm sure my sister will change.
Yeah.
See, this thing you said is why me I've not relocated out of Nigeria, because the guy said, should we? So you and the children, I'm like, uncle, I'm not doing that. I'm sorry. I know myself, I know my husband. I'm sorry, we're not doing that. You know, I think that a lot of people don't sit down. You see this question of the marital bed, sex. We toy with it. We joke with it. We feel like, I mean, like you said, it has to be temporal. If you're living apart, it shouldn't be a permanent thing or something that you start without proper planning. You must talk about it and, you know, see, at the end of the day, we both need to live together. That was the original design. Now, let's now talk to those who are now living apart, whether it's temporal or not, right? What do? You see, communication is very, very important. When I was away for a couple of days, like I said, my husband, I was sick. In fact, when I'm taking my bath, I was doing video call. I put the phone somewhere. I'm like, dude, you like what you see? Yeah, I know some people be like, hey, but are you not setting him up to go? And no, I know my husband. So again, do you know your husband? Do you know your wife? Can you guys hold each other? It's not like we can be celebrated. God knows we cannot be celebrated. There's nothing, at least for now, both of us, we're still young. It's still hot blood running through our veins, right? But I'm doing that because I'm stirring up things. So the day I'm coming back like this is from the airport to the room, we're locking the children. Wait, mommy just came back. People can go and do you understand? So when you live apart, you must always talk about these things. That's the first way to deal with it. And then you have technology. When people are doing your FaceTime, what are you doing? And I know a lot of people will come for me. When I start, I'm planning some video shoots, some daring shoots that people will come for me. And I really don't care, because at the end of the day, if it builds one marriage, I've done the work of God. Yeah. So you have technology, we have Zoom calls like this. I'm sure you have people from all over Nigeria and some people are outside of Nigeria on this call. But why can't husbands and wife mutually masturbate when they're together? Whether they're together, whether physically or virtually, right? If that helps. Unfortunately, not everybody knows that. That's the other side of it. Some people don't know how to, and then you open it up to when you're not there, you can just easily enjoy each other, which is not God's plan for marriage. So there's always a thin line, which is why it is best at the end of the day, make sure that whatever happens, both of you live in the same city. If it's hustle for money, see, the thing is, people go out of their way because they want to have this big life. We don't enjoy the little that we have. We don't, what's the word? So I have an in-law who wants their children to go to British whatever school, and I know they cannot afford it, but because we have to give our children what we did not have, so they have to go there. And I'm like, no vex, my children, they where they pay small money, they want, and then I will argument. In fact, in my children's school, they know that my children speak good English. Like, where did I'm like, I started from home. Right? We do, at a point, we did not have DSTV. We had it, but I was not subscribing. What do? I buy videos, DVDs that has to do with reading, speaking, phonetics, and we do it together. In fact, now we're learning French together. Me and my children, we YouTube on the TV, we're learning together so that when they resume school and they want to do French, they go down knock their mates out. It's a sacrifice that I have to make. Do you understand? So the full shot is, if you cannot control each other when you're apart, and so doing the whole video masturbation thing can be a problem, to be honest, it can't be a problem, you know, then maybe you want to go back and say, okay, why are we living apart? Is this something we can deal with? Is there a way we can reverse it? Is there a way we can calm down and live within? I mean, if I not tell you, say I eat from my house, will you know? No, when I come, I drop my powder and I'm smiling and I comport myself, I package myself. You think that I just came back from US and Namia, you did this, Niger. Do you understand? But for those who live apart, you know, find a way, talk about it. What can you guys do together? And, you know, abide by it. If you know that both of you can do a mutual masturbation and it's the both of you, you don't do it outside of each other's knowing, you go ahead, because what happens in the marital bedroom stays in the marital bedroom, right? So I hope that answers your question. And I know some people will probably ask questions about sex toys or what have you. If nobody has already asked about it, it's a personal thing. You see these things then, it's like some people believe in tithing and some people don't believe in tithing. It does not mean that those who do tithing must enter heaven because it tithes. And it doesn't mean that the person who doesn't tithe will not go to heaven. It's your personal conviction with God. I don't know if I'm making sense. God is a loving father. He's a kind father, and he's also a raging fire. Hello? So it depends on who you want him to be to you. So if you know that you're convinced between the both of you, and you've spoken about this thing, you've prayed about it, both of you have the spiritual peace and release to go ahead and do virtual whatever you want to do, and you abide by it, to stay with it, then go ahead and do it. But that is not a long-term solution to that problem or to that challenge. It's not a long-term, to be honest. Long-term is both of you have to live together. But be firewood. It's not just a thought. It's not just a saying. And like I said, unless both of you are very spirit cocoa to the point, nobody can be tempted. The hair is fine. I hope I answered the question.
Yeah. We have another question. It's from Antonia. She said, someone told me her husband likes oral sex very well and likes to release inside her mouth, but she doesn't like it because it's irritating to her and makes her throw up. He tells her if she loves him well, she can do it because he likes it and he loves her so much. She wants to ask what your advice is on the issue.
Blackmail. Sex, in fact, if sex is not mutual,
mutual agreement, no blackmailing anybody.
There's no if you love me, you will do it. See, and that's where the truth is, all of the things we have said, if you are not able to control your own urge, you're a slave. Honest truth. Because even the examples we are giving, we're even sounding slightly utopian, like we control everything about life. Some people's spouses are bedridden for a whole month. What would you say? Is that justification to go out? Do you get what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not wishing anybody bad, but life happens. Okay, let me give you a better scenario. Some people don't have a problem on their own, but a family member of theirs is in a situation they have to leave town to go and be responsible. They are not sick themselves. Your spouse is away. What do you do? So you must, if a particular sexual expression is not comfortable for your partner, if you love them, you will draw lines. So since it's the lady asking, my advice would be, number one, I believe in prayer. Pray for him. He doesn't have sense. He needs sense. Number two, James 1:5. Does any of you lack or need wisdom? Let him ask to God, who will not rebuke for asking and will give generously. Ask God, how do I approach this man to understand that this matter is not well? All right? Because there's how long you can endure. But the end of this matter also is to trust God. God, give me grace if I can catch up to this. And enjoy it. All right? So that it doesn't look like I just throwing all the responsibility on God, fix them. All right? God can help you to adjust, because some people will gladly do that, But the reason why she may even feel more violated is because she's not even being given the opportunity to even get into it. So there's a violation there and it's not proper.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Ma.
100%. And it's not just about swallowing semen or anything. It's any sexual practice that you're not comfortable doing. Couples should learn to say, you know what? I really enjoy doing this. I wish you would do it with me. And then hear the other person out. Okay, what is your reason for not liking it? Is this something we can talk about? And then can we compromise? Is there a way to, have that? It shouldn't be forced. It shouldn't be, don't place, if you love me, we'll do this. Or if you don't do it, I'll go and cheat. Some people say that. Some people say, if you don't do it, girls plenty, that's how they'll do it for me. And like you said, pray about it. And then have conversations around it. And we pray that God will help. And this is why we also say from beginning, let's know who we're getting married to. Let's know who are getting married. You have to learn to control certain things. Otherwise, you're a slave to that thing. Thank you. Next question.
Okay, please, I don't know if anyone has a question. So we are waiting for your questions. I can see Gloria and Uche, one of my closest friends in the world. So if you have any question, we are here for you. But while we are waiting for your questions, I'd like to ask about anal sex. What is your take on it? Is it safe and all that? Then, okay, so that is my first question. Then my second is timing. what if one person likes it every day, the other person, even if it's 2 months, the person is fine, the person does not have a problem with it. How can you ginger? Well, people have said something like that, but what happens to those time frames? And another thing is, they usually tell women, oh, when you're going, submit to your husband. What if you are married to somebody that it is the woman that is more sexually active or interested than the man? So these are my questions. There are someone.
Let me just add another one. Let me just add another one.
Are you sure if you add it will not be too much? This arrow is not already. I think we should take this first. Okay. I think we should take this first. And let me apologize ahead. I have done 1 hour on extra. There's a forum I kept on pause. I'm going to join them back. I'm with NHN and with a couple of people. I'm going back to them in Clubhouse after catching my breath. This is my 5th meeting today. So
wow. Well done, sir. As in.
So thank you. I think let me make contribution on this and beg to be sent forth. My sister will fire everything today. Let me start with the Anna one. I often tell people to be absolute where the word of God is and to have liberty where the word of God has liberty. I do not find support for anal sex in scripture. I do not find support for it in science. Like what my sister was saying earlier about saliva, and I mean, if you are checking somebody's dental appointments, when people like me cannot remember the last one, if not when my tooth was removed a few years ago, to make a woman safe in terms of your saliva that you swallow all the time, how much more somebody that is going through the seat of all the things in this world that human beings should not. I mean, like you said, the sex organ is the most sensitive part of your body, and that anus they are talking about is the dirtiest part of human existence. I mean, bacteria, whatever. I mean, it's so hard to even describe what we're talking about. Very hard. But like I said, if I love something that my sister said earlier, porn has sold ideas that are very terrible as fun. In fact, forgetting that most of the people acting porn are slaves on drugs, doing stuff. I mean, I don't know who has not assessed porn before. I have. So I'm not forming righteous that I'm speaking of you people that have watched it. One of the things they used to introduce us to internet was porn. I mean, it's one of the areas that I look back and say, thank you, Jesus. How did you take me out from this thing? I mean, the thing was, we all entered, except few of you that are very righteous. You never thought it, But so, these guys make this thing look like, oh my God. You need to just be honest with yourself, So on that note, I think that's my thought on that. On the issue of frequency, I'm just touching all before I go so that on the issue of frequency, your libido levels and sexual drives will not always be the same. It will not always be the same. People can attempt to find reconciliation. Reconciliation we have to do with understanding, because the moment you begin to regard your partner's emotion and their hormonal changes and all, the better for you. There's no man that will not tell you there's a point every month where your wife for a week or 2 is at the best. It will look like you have finally arrived. Then next week, it will look like, Madam, what happened? Last week, you were jumping all over my head. All right? So sometimes just studying your partner's circle helps you. It just helps you. In fact, there are certain things you plan around certain things. Imagine going to fix a vacation, mumu man, you don't even know your wife's period was going to come. What's the use of that vacation? What's the use of the vacation? This thing, you have to be so deliberate. Even people that have annual leave, you want to take leave, do some calculation, because the leave, you are going to do vacation. Imagine you carry your wife to Maldives or Dubai with period. So he will be greeting zebra and tortoise and underground zoo. Is that what you do? And post picture on Facebook for people to clap for you. Then you enter bedroom. The woman is changing pad. Hey, Jesus. You get what I'm saying? Something is wrong with you. Something is wrong with you. You're not planning well. So sorry, I had to use that very direct example. But besides period, there are weeks your wife is not ready. But if you study a pattern, you realize that it's a circle. It's a circle. She's going around, see, so much hormone. The way she has not ending, that's how she has plenty hormonal thing that I don't understand. You are just learning and learning. All right. So it's not, once you see it that way, you become less judgmental. Because what makes it difficult for couples is that you are thinking this person is denying you. The person is not denying you. The person is going through something. And in fact, the more you extend understanding, the more likely they are to come back to you with a positive feedback, to be available for you. So you are not going to be the same. First of all, try to understand to the best of your ability the patterns of the difference. Then ask yourself, what can I do? Sorry, let me use military terms, to crush the resistance. Because no matter the hormone, let me tell you, my dear sister Cecilia, if there's a red Benz 2020 parked outside right now, glory, hallelujah, and your hobby just blindfolds you and walk you outside, hey, I don't even know.
I almost stood up now. Why are you like this? Is this fair?
You get what I'm saying? Now, one of the things you do is you plan to make more unleashing effort on your partner in their seasons that they are not naturally sexually available. Do more at that time to get them in the mood, because you are doing less when they are in the mood. So people just get judgmental, like, be there for me, just do it, just be available. How? She's human, he's human. Sometimes, let me tell you, your husband is not available because rent is in 1 month time, finish. It has nothing to do with his rent. Sometimes your wife is overwhelmed. She has cooked, she has washed, she has cleaned, and the house, the moment you walk into the house, the first thing that comes out of your mind is complaint. Something's wrong with you. You're not even seeing that she's burdened. Then in the night, you come and tap her. Let me run away with this joke. A couple were quarreling for like 3 days. They're not talking to each other. So in the night, the husband began to approach the wife. The wife said, I thought we were quarreling. The husband said, they are not quarreling. Those organs, they are not quarreling. It's me and you. They are not quarreling. All right, so make sure the conditions are right. It will help you reconcile the process. Do I have your permission to run?
Yes.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
It was nice seeing you again, sir.
Thank you, my sister. I hope we connect soon again. And that your vacation is in fact, we need to talk. We need to talk.
No wahala. No, we have to do it. We have to do some. Okay. Some couples are already on the queue, because the last one we did. Yeah. We did date night in my home almost a year ago. We had some songs, Solomon Lange. We had a few ministers, and they are asking for retreat. Like, these people are on the queue because it was such an amazing time. So yes, let's connect. Let's talk about it.
Oh, okay. And thank you, our wonderful host. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, that honor. Okay, bye, sir.
Bye, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so you can ask your question.
So let me just quickly add to what he said about frequency, right? Yes. There will always be time when both of you are not in the mood. And then it's worse when the woman has a higher libido than the man. With the man, it's easy for the woman to compromise. But when you have a woman who has higher libido than the man, it's important that we talk about it. And again, remember, we keep talking about the mindset. You can control these things, right? And then if you're open enough to have these conversations, let me tell you, one of the things you can do is you don't necessarily have to use your organs all the time. Right? You can pleasure your wife with your hands, with your mouth. And this is where sex toy comes into place. Because are you telling me that, God forbid, if anybody is sick, you don't want to still have sexual pleasure? If the both of you are in sync and you don't have a problem with using a sex toy, right? You can use a sex toy on your wife, even though you are not in the mood. I remember I talked about duty to your spouse, duty to wife, to husband. If you're not in the mood, find a way around it. If the both of you can talk about it and you let it go, fine. But if not, then find other ways to make sure that you're sexually pleasuring your spouse. Because if you're not, the resentment will build. It will affect everything about your marriage, to be honest. It would affect even your output at work. If you think you're doing well at work right now and the home front is not settled, imagine when you settle the home front, your productivity will more than double or even triple. So I think it's open for discussion, but then we can have these conversations. And again, know why the man is not, because men also go through trauma. Some men were abused. And so when it comes to sex, their libido is very low. So women too, we need to also find out why the man has low libido. Is this a problem that can be sorted out? Let me also tell you, some of them are medical. It's just because we don't talk about these things in Nigeria. If the man has low testosterone, definitely his libido will be low. And so what does he need to do when he goes to the hospital and they check him and all of that? If his testosterone is low, there are drugs that they use to boost testosterone for the man. So if it's not psychological, if it's medical, there's a medical, solution for it. If it's psychological, there's a psychological solution to it as well. So don't just say, okay, that's how he doesn't like it, and then everybody just stays. Everybody just leave. The truth is, it's just a temporary fix because somebody's going to, be resentful. Somebody's going to be hurting, and then frequency is open to the both of you. Sometimes even me, that I'm always hot. Sometimes a week, nothing, no show. My husband is not stressing because he knows when I start my own again. You know what I mean? So it's open. I don't tell people, oh, you have to have it every day. I don't give, it's not drugs. It's not take 2 tablets in the morning, afternoon, night. No, it's the both of you. What are you open to? What can you do? Okay. But I know people say, oh, 3-4 times a week is healthy and all of that. I don't know where people get that from. It's about you, because I feel like that puts a lot of pressure on people. Okay. And let me quickly just talk about erectile function. Now, for a man, and this is a pandemic, I'm waiting for some people in the future. They will pay me big money to sort out their erectile function. I'm telling you, if everybody's drinking agbo now, there is this one, different herbal things that people are buying to just make sure you have that erection that will stand for. Do you know what it means for a man to have an erection? It's blood flow to his penis, to his organ. And so when that blood is, when you take that in and there's a rush of blood into your organ, the same thing is happening to every part of your body. There's a rush of blood. And so people are dropping dead because they are on Viagra for so long. People are taking, these things are okay if you're taking them once in a while, maybe it's an anniversary or equal on a weekend, you take it because, body has to be strong to withstand whatever it is. But when you're now dependent on these things, trust me, it's in Nigeria, we don't do autopsy. People drop dead, you don't know why. My professor abroad says that 40% of the men who just drop dead and come to the hospital is from the fall short of depending on sexual enhancement drugs. So we need to watch it. And how does a man know that he has to go and check his erectile function? If you don't naturally have an erection in the morning, at least 3 to 4 times every week, there's something wrong with the erection. I hope I've not broken some people's hearts now. We don't have these conversations enough. And it doesn't mean that it's something bad. It could just be, maybe you need to change your diet. Maybe it's a psychological thing. It could just be, maybe you need some exercise. So some women find it difficult. Every morning, they're like, my husband always have an erection in the morning. He can have an erection, doesn't mean he has to act on it. The erection means that his body is doing the natural exercise that it should do. It's a biological thing that has to happen. So don't judge your husband, because again, what happens is when you keep saying that to him, psychologically, he will not have morning erections. So it's not like there's something wrong with his erection. It's just psychologically he has shut it down, and it's not healthy when it's shut down. Okay, so you see, this thing is very deep. It's deeper than we even share out there. So yeah, let's take one more question because I have to go. My kids have been knocking on my door.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. So do we have any more questions? I think I saw Mrs. Antonia's hand up. I don't know.
I think your husband has a question. He wanted to add one question.
Yeah, you actually have addressed the question, because sometimes the man could be the morning person while the wife is the night person. So how can they work towards reconciling that whole sex timing and all that?
Yeah, okay. So conversation, and then maybe you want to wake up a bit earlier in the morning, because the truth is, when women learn that quickies in the morning can be fun, with quickie in the morning, you don't even need exercise. You go out to work and you're smiling sheepishly, like somebody who just fell in love. We need to learn. I have a video on YouTube on quickies. I'm just going to do a redo of that video. But if the man is a morning person, you have to talk about it. If it's something that somebody can sacrifice, and then but once in a while still do what feels natural to that person. You see, that's why it's a marriage. We're learning each other. You must learn to, just meet each other halfway at every point in time. It won't always, if it's that easy, everybody will be married now. Do you understand? Everybody will stay married. It's not that easy. It's why we just need to keep learning, keep having these conversations, keep talking about it. And God is our help. It is well.
Amen. Mrs. Antonia rose her hand up, so I don't know if she can just quickly ask a question. You can unmute yourself, ma'am. You cannot hear you properly, ma'am.
Yes, check the message. I sent the question there. The question is on the chat message.
Okay, you've already answered the question on the chat group, ma'am. We've answered it. So maybe if you watch, let me check and see.
Yeah, we have.
Okay. We've already answered your question.
Yes, so, I see her question. She's asked the question. She says she's in a noisy place. Let her type it. She's the one that asked about the oral sex and releasing in the woman's mouth.
Yes, we've answered it. Okay. So I guess that everyone has gotten something from this, because for me, I've actually learned a lot, and I'm sure that
I need to listen to this again, because there are specific things that I need to learn from. So I need to hear those things over and over. So definitely, this has really been very impactful for me personally.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Cecilia. Thank you for your bedroom matters. So I would encourage everyone to just follow her online, Bedroom Matters. You would see tips that you can use for your marriage. Plus, she has love note cards, I think, and then she has
couples game cards, couples conversation game cards.
Yes.
Has 30 questions romance and 30 erotic questions. So yeah.
Yes.
Then I have the ebook, the book 270 flirty messages to send. You can check that out on my page. I think it's 2,000 or 2,500. And I also have a natural aphrodisiac for women to help women with dry vagina, to help them, naturally secrete, and you have to take it over time for it to work. It's what people call kaya matter out there. So you have to be careful where you buy. So I normally recommend people, but a lot of people have just been on my case. Please, they don't trust people, because the truth is people can perverse what is good and turn it into something else. I don't personally believe that you have to drink something to attract a man, or you take something so that whatever you say to the man, he will do, or all those things just doesn't make any sense to me. They're natural fruits, and you don't have to buy what I have. It's called the drip syrup, funny enough. So when he talked about dripping, it just resonated. It's called the drip syrup. Yeah, it's on my page. It's just 8,000. It's natural silky cola fruit and infused with certain herbs like maca and the rest of them to just help the woman, even with your period regulation. The fruit, the funny thing is God has blessed us with a lot of natural nutrients and fruits and vegetables, yet we all want the packaged drinks. So have all the packaged stuff that has chemicals in them, and these people come to Nigeria to export the natural ones and take to themselves and use. There's a guy in Canada that they export Gorontula to. He's a wealthy guy because he understands what is in it. So if you don't want to buy the fruit, go to the market, buy the fruit, chew it, take lots of watermelon. Watermelon is good for men and for women. It helps men with erectile function. Beetroot fruit, very good. Pineapple is extremely very good. Another thing you can use for, just to help the woman get wet, or it's an aphrodisiac, red wine. A glass of red wine will do a lot of good to you and to your heart as well. Dark chocolate, there's so much. I start mentioning it, you'll be asking me, so why are you selling if you're giving us all this other alternative? Because this one is just for those that want it, but they don't want to buy from people who they don't trust the source. Yeah. And for me, please, everybody needs to be enjoying sex. God created it for us to enjoy. Let's, just help each other out. And I want to say thank you to the both of you for putting this together, because you don't know the amount of marriages you're probably helping, because one marriage will go and teach another marriage there. That's by extension what you're already doing. And I think that everybody on this platform, should really find a way to show their gratitude. If you need to sow a seed in their lives, because marriage is such a sensitive part of our lives. If your marriage is not working, it's going to affect your parenting style. It's going to affect your children. It's going to affect how they see things. So I don't want to raise my kids, well-balanced kids, godly children, and then they go out there and they mix with a child whose parent has not taken time to love each other enough to even, like your kids need to see you and understand what love is. A lot of us never saw our parents even hold hands. But somehow we have plenty siblings. That means something is going down. But we never really saw holding hands. Do you understand? So, just try as much as you can as a couple, as married people, to invest in your marriage. Invest in your marriage. Buy books on marriage, on intimacy. I'm not even saying the general marriage, sex part. That's the part that people don't talk about. Buy books on sex. Read books. When you see programs like this, pay. It's for your good, because sometimes when you go into it's a reminder. You may not hear anything new, but it reminds you of the things that you've not been doing, and then it sends you back to the things that you're supposed to be doing. When you talk about retreat, like we're talking, find the money early, pay, go. It will do a lot of good to your marriage. It will do a lot of good to your lives together. And I pray that the Lord will continue to help us, help our marriages, and just help us grow, help us love each other, help us show love to the world. Let people see Christ through us. Let them see and love to get married because of your marriage. If you go on social media, you see a lot of people are scared. Marriage is overrated. Marriage is this, because the only thing that you see on social media is when it's not working. This one, they've broken up. This one, something happened. I need all of us to take it as a challenge upon ourselves. I'm not saying you all have to be like Husband and Wife Foundation, or you have to be like Cecilia, but in your own personal way, the things you've learned here, somebody can come up to you tomorrow, maybe your little cousin or friend or mentee, I'm having this issue, you know exactly what to say to them. And I pray that the Lord will help us and continue to give us the grace. And to the both of you, amazing. God bless you. Replenish your pockets, continue to fill you with love and wisdom, and continue to help your marriages, because as you help other people's marriages, don't get it twisted. The devil will come for you. He'll come for yours. Because if yours is broken, then it has reduced your chances of doing the kinds of things that you're doing now. So I pray that the Lord will stretch forth his hands and continue to envelope you in his love in Jesus' name.
Amen. So thank you so much, Ma. Thank you, Mr. Ocholi in absentia. Thank you to all our attendees. Thank you, everyone that attended, everyone that asked a question. Thank you so much. For the recording of this, it's streamed live on Facebook. So if you check HUZBAN and WYFE, it's online on Facebook. It will be downloaded and also streamed on YouTube, maybe by this weekend. So thank you so much, everyone. I wish everyone an amazing weekend. Thank you, Ma. Thank you for the sacrifice. Thank you for coming. Thank you for teaching us. Thank you for showing us what to touch. Thank you. Thank you, Ma.
You're welcome.
Thanks,
Bye,
everyone.
everyone.
Have an amazing weekend. Bye.
Bye.